On World News Tonight this Wednesday, the president's men take their best shot at convincing the Judiciary Committee that he does not deserve to be impeached. The controversial anti-loitering law in the ganglands of Chicago. Will the Supreme Court let it stand? And as the computer mouse turns 30, we'll take a closer look at the future. Computers that know what you want, even how you feel.
ABC News World Headquarters in New York. This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. We begin again tonight with the president's fate. The country may not be paying close attention, but unless there's a dramatic change in the Congress, the president is one step closer tonight to being impeached. The articles of impeachment have been drawn up. There are 4. One for criminal perjury, lying to a grand jury, principally about his relationship with Monica Lewinsky and his efforts to influence witnesses. A second article for civil perjury, lying during the Paula Jones deposition. A third for obstructing justice, including a plot to conceal his gifts to Miss Lewinsky and influence her testimony by getting her a job. And the fourth article is for abuse of power, including deceiving the Congress and the American people. Washington is in a very somber mood tonight. Now, there's still a powerful tug of war in the full House of Representatives about what to do. And so today, 4 Democrats in the House have tried to head off the impeachment by offering a motion to censure the president for, as they put it in their motion, reprehensible action. Nothing decided. Washington is also nervous. Today, the Judiciary Committee had as its final witness the White House counsel Charles Ruff. He was described as the president's cleanup hitter. Our first report from ABC's Linda Douglas.
The committee will come to order.
White House counsel Charles Ruff tried to drive home the White House line that the president's conduct is morally reprehensible but not worthy of impeachment.
In order to have committed an impeachable offense, the president must have acted to subvert our system of government. And members of the committee, that did not happen.
Ruff challenged the committee to consider the specifics. What if Kenneth Starr was right to conclude that the president lied under oath about touching certain parts of Monica Lewinsky's body?
Let each member assume that Ms. Lewinsky's version of the events is correct, and then ask, am I prepared to impeach the president because, after having admitted having engaged in egregiously wrongful conduct, he falsely described the particulars of that conduct?
Ruff attacked many of Starr's findings, charging some were based on little or no evidence. Example, Starr's conclusion that the president plotted to conceal his gifts to Monica Lewinsky.
That there is not one single suggestion anywhere in any testimony that the president suggested, brought up, hinted at the notion of Ms. Lewinsky's concealing these gifts in any manner.
Starr's report relied on Lewinsky's grand jury testimony. At some point I said to the president, maybe I should put the gifts away outside my house. I think he responded, I don't know, or let me think about that. But Ruff cited 9 additional statements Lewinsky made about the gifts, and nowhere did she say Mr. Clinton suggested concealing them. When their turn came, Republicans peppered him with questions about lying.
Ruff, did the president mislead the American people when he denied having sexual relations with Monica Lewinsky?
He's admitted doing so.
Did he lie then?
I have no doubt that he walked up to a line that he thought he understood. Reasonable people could determine that he crossed over that line, and that what for him was truthful but misleading, or non-responsive and misleading, or evasive, was in fact false.
Oh, so what's the difference between misleading and lying?
Because he believed, rightly so in his own mind, that he was telling the truth. That he used the word sexual relations to mean sexual intercourse.
The chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Henry Hyde, said tonight he will allow the committee members to vote on a motion to censure the president, but not until after they have voted on whether to impeach him. Peter.
Thanks very much, Linda Douglas on Capitol Hill. This is very big stuff, these articles of impeachment. We're joined tonight by Sam Donaldson and Cokie Roberts. Let me go first to you, Sam. I hear stories of a very nervous White House and almost clutching at the possibility of censure.
Well, they're nervous, Peter, as you might suppose, and in fact, you'll hear any official here tell you the president will listen to any censure motion or resolution. Look at the language. He'll look at language requiring a fine. He'll look at language denouncing him in the stiffest terms. He'll even look at language that would require his signature, up to admitting perjury. That he won't do.
And the reaction to the articles of impeachment in more specific terms?
Yeah, they said they were expected. They believe the Republicans rushed them out because Mr. Ruff did such a terrific job, according to the people here. And they said in a statement that nothing in this case compels the Congress to impeach the president. Strange use of the word compels, but that's what they said.
Okay, Sam, thanks. Let's go to Capitol Hill. Cokie Roberts is up there. Cokie, a lot of wavering Republicans, and how much pressure?
A lot of wavering Republicans, Peter, but and they're feeling pressure from the White House and from cabinet members, business people who have connections to them who have been called by the White House. But they say the president has to do something more. He has to admit that he lied. And they say without that they don't see how he avoids impeachment.
Let me just first point out you're on the Bureau, not
Thank
up
you.
on Capitol Hill. Is there any doubt in your mind now that this is going to go ahead the full distance, or is the wavering enough among Republicans that this could suddenly reverse itself?
They say that the dynamic is extremely fluid at the moment and that there could possibly be a vote not to impeach and not to send it on to the Senate. There could be some crystallizing moment, one said to me, when people suddenly say, oh my goodness, we're voting to impeach the President of the United States. But others say, look, we've thought about this for a long time, and our voters have thought about this for a long time. They're hearing a lot from the voters. They're hearing more to impeach than not to impeach, and they're saying that it's not organized. It's not an organized effort.
Cokie, thanks very much. Cokie Roberts in the Washington Bureau, Sam Donaldson at the White House. As we said, a very big and somber evening in Washington. We'll have some of the other news of the day when we come back. The increasingly volatile situation in the West Bank. That's where the president is going on the weekend.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by Chevy Trucks.
Chevy Tahoe, like a rock.
Sanding any surface that isn't flat is back-breaking work for hands. But the Dremel Contour Sander gives hands a break. With interchangeable contours, you get a hand finish without the hand work. The Dremel Contour Sander, hands just can't say enough good things about it.
Teddy Gibbs can't let a sore throat stop him, even when it feels this raw. He toughs it out through the hacking cough, the aches, the fever. But when the job is done, he's desperate for fast, powerful Theraflu relief. With the first sip of that soothing lemony hot liquid, he feels comfort instantly. Soon his throat feels calmed, his cough quieted. Maximum strength Theraflu, now in new cherry sore throat and cough. Instant comfort, powerful relief.
In Iraq today, the first incident between the Iraqis and the UN weapons inspectors since the UN went back into Iraq. When the inspectors showed up at an office of Saddam Hussein's ruling political party, the Iraqis demanded a list of what the UN was looking for. They were apparently citing rules that require such a list if the UN makes a surprise visit like this. The UN says there are old rules. An American official said one failed visit, as in today, will not lead to war. The British government decided today that Spain may go ahead with extradition proceedings for the former military ruler of Chile, Augusto Pinochet. The Spanish government wants to try him on charges of genocide. And what excites many people in the human rights community is that this decision may establish a precedent. There are plenty of other wanted men, both ex and current, out there. It was another very bad day between Palestinians and Israelis on the West Bank, making a lot of people doubly nervous just days before President Clinton is scheduled to arrive. ABC's Gillian Finley is in the West Bank city of Ramallah tonight.
In virtually every West Bank city today, the stones of Palestinian demonstrators were met with Israeli gunfire. It was almost impossible to imagine that the two sides had signed a peace deal less than 2 months ago. In Ramallah, in Bethlehem, in Nablus, the clashes went on for hours. Among the casualties, a 17-year-old boy killed by Israeli soldiers using live ammunition. The pressure has been building for weeks. Nearly every demonstration now is about one issue: the release of as many as 2,000 Palestinian prisoners from Israeli jails. To Palestinians, they are heroes, young men jailed for resisting the Israeli occupation, sometimes violently. There is hardly a Palestinian family that does not have a son, a nephew, a cousin among them. Israel calls these prisoners terrorists. Israel did release 250 prisoners recently, but they were not the political prisoners. Most were common criminals, drug addicts, and car thieves. Palestinians feel cheated. And they say they'll keep returning to the streets until the prisoners are freed. Not good news for the people planning President Clinton's visit. Tonight, the anger is growing. The Palestinians now have a new martyr they will bury tomorrow, and that could bring even more violence. Gillian Finley, ABC News, Ramallah.
When we come back, some of the day's other news, including violence in Chicago and the constitutional right to hang out.
Enterprise, rent a car for my trip? Looks expensive.
It's not expensive, Mom.
They pick us up? Sounds expensive.
Pickup's free, Mom.
Well, if it's not expensive, why didn't I get a convertible?
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
It hurts so bad. That burning sensation. So I saw my doctor. He said where heartburn hurts most is where Mylanta works fast. All down through here where you want help fast. My doctor said Mylanta.
Some things can never be taught in a classroom. You won't find them in any textbook. And with Fixodent's long-lasting hold, you'll be ready, no matter where the lesson takes you. For long-lasting hold, Fixodent, and forget it.
Let's say the puppy's a salesperson in an average computer store. Now, ask the salesperson the question.
What's the difference between DVD and CD-ROM? How much RAM do I really need? Oh, and can you guys install software? Okay, thanks.
We built a different place to buy a computer. Gateway Country, staffed with trained people who'll have a computer built just for you, starting as low as $9.99. Gateway Country, get more out of the box. Drop by any store or call 1-800-GATEWAY.
What do Brazilian chocolates, Filipino soft drinks, German motor cars, and the South China Morning Post have in common?
You got to have this, and this.
They're all made in factories that use Siemens industrial systems.
Before you eat, or you drink, or you write, or you read, there is this, and this.
All over the world, we make a lot of things that make a lot of things.
So for this, or this.
We're Siemens.
We can do that.
The Supreme Court heard arguments today on the most important civil rights case it will consider this term. It is the challenge to a law in Chicago designed originally to get at Chicago's notorious gangs. The law prohibits loitering on a public street. Here's ABC's Terry Moran.
On these Chicago streets, gang violence has taken a terrible toll.
My 3-year-old was killed by a 25-year-old gangbanger.
The gangs control these neighborhoods. Others live in fear.
You allowed to come out of your house and five or six guys sitting up on your porch. You can't go down your own stairs.
In 1992, Chicago passed an anti-loitering law that allowed police to order people standing on the street to move along if the officer believed one person in a group was a gang member. Failure to obey could result in arrest and up to 6 months in jail. In 3 years, more than 40,000 people were arrested under the law.
Chicago's 11th police district, historically one of the city's highest crime areas, was ground zero for the anti-loitering ordinance. And it was here, the law's supporters say, that its success was most striking. By some estimates, crime decreased by as much as 23% here. And police say open-air drug selling also declined.
But the ACLU argued the law was so vague, people couldn't know whether what they were doing was illegal. And the Illinois courts agreed, striking it down as unconstitutional. Today at the Supreme Court, most of the justices were sharply skeptical about Chicago's law, grilling the city's lawyer on the dangers of arresting innocent people. Justice David Souter observed some people with nothing better to do like to sit and watch the cars go by. But Justice Antonin Scalia defended the law, asking, how do you distinguish this from nighttime road blockades to check for drunken drivers? Outside the court, Chicago residents had an impassioned answer to the abstractions and hypotheticals.
They don't live there. The Chief Justice don't live there. Illinois Supreme Court don't live there. They do not have this problem. You don't live there, and you don't have this problem.
Now the Supreme Court must decide between freedom on these streets and safety. Terry Moran, ABC News at the Supreme Court.
Other news in much of the country, it hasn't been much of a winter so far, but in Southern California, the Santa Ana winds have made their annual entrance. The hurricane force winds were enough in this case to overturn 18-wheelers on highways east of Los Angeles. On the money tonight, TWA is growing again. The airline is buying nearly $4 billion worth of new planes. 50 planes will come from Boeing and 75 from Boeing's competitor, the European Airbus Industries. On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down more than 18 points to close at 90.09. On the NASDAQ, stocks were up 15.5 points. In California, for the first time, you can now rent an electric car on a daily basis. At the Los Angeles airport, Budget has them, $40 a day. And for quite a lot more money, here's one of this Christmas's minor excesses, a sterling silver computer mouse, about $1,300. When we come back, we'll take a closer look at some astonishing things that computer designers have in mind for us. Technology on the cutting edge.
Do you ask more from a truck than 99% of those around you? Then you are what we call a one-percenter. With your demanding standards in mind, we submit the more powerful all-new GMC Sierra. Completely redesigned with a revolutionary towing system and our largest cab ever. One-percenters, your time has come. The all-new Sierra from GMC.
When they said the world didn't need another nose strip, we said we'll make one that gives instant relief of nasal congestion symptoms and is ergonomically contoured for a good fit. Introducing Clear Passage Nose Strips. After all, we're the maker of the Afrin brand, and who knows more about the nose?
Supermarket shopping, when nothing stood between you and your next meal. Nothing. But today, there are materials that help lock out harmful contaminants and reduce spoilage, keeping us safe and the food we eat fresh. Plastics make it possible. So now, the rest is history.
Morning seems so much brighter after a good night's sleep. That's why I love my Tylenol PM. Sometimes I have trouble sleeping. I used to worry about taking something. How would I feel in the morning? And then I tried Tylenol PM. It stops my pain and helps me sleep. So in the morning, I'm rested, refreshed, ready to make the most of my day.
Rest easy. It's Tylenol PM.
We're going to take a closer look tonight at some very interesting cutting-edge technology and how we average human beings interact, or in some cases are not yet able to interact very successfully with our computers. Today is actually the 30th anniversary of the computer mouse, if ever there was a mouse that roared. 90 million of them were produced last year. They have been the key to making computers accessible at all. We forget, perhaps, what it used to be like. You needed a punch card or lines and lines of code just to move a cursor on the screen. And now with a flick of the wrist and a click, well, we're getting there. First, here's ABC's Jack Smith on the technology that may be just around the corner.
It is a device we take for granted, like the telephone. But without it, the computer revolution might never have happened.
We have a pointing device called a mouse.
A device invented by a Silicon Valley scientist 30 years ago.
I get this mild feeling of amazement that there's so many of them out there.
And perfected by others.
Small inventions like the mouse can have such large consequences.
The mouse was the first revolutionary step towards making computers interact directly with human beings.
To see how we'll interact in the future, the next step, you need only look, where else? At games this holiday season.
When I hit the side of the road or go over a bump, I can actually feel it in the steering wheel. It's called force feedback. My hands can actually feel what my eyes are seeing in the screen. It's this way of engaging all the human senses that the mouse of the future will have.
The same technology that provides you feedback when you hit the wall can provide you a feeling of texture when you're exploring a certain material on the screen, can provide you
corduroy
or silk.
And a mouse that did that would make technology
easier, simpler, more pleasant, more enjoyable, and more productive.
In the future, the work of a mouse could be done by other things. A camera, for instance.
The camera detects my movements and acts according to them.
Scientists are even using cameras to track your eyes. The cursor moves to what you're looking at, and the computer puts that information on the screen.
You just looked at that, and it appeared on the screen here.
That's right.
And as computers get so small,
I use this for web browsing.
They can be projected onto your eyeglasses or fit in your pocket. They'll have to be activated, not by hand, but by voice.
In the future, people will be able to do their work by talking to their computers instead of using the mouse and keyboard, period.
The goal is to act with your computer the same way you'd act with another person.
And that's the future.
That's the future.
Rocks on the walls.
Imagine computers without mice or keyboards that know how to recognize you.
I don't have to remember your name because the system is doing the task for me.
And computers that know what you're thinking, for instance, detecting frowns of puzzlement.
It's amazing. A computer will actually think about understanding what you're trying to do, knowing a little bit about what you're thinking, trying to help you, teach you, do it for you.
I think that's the mouse of the future. It's not us getting better at moving something. It's the computer getting better at understanding us.
Touch, voice.
Delete that.
Even thoughts. The way we interact with computers, machines, in the future will be unlike anything we know today. Jack Smith, ABC News, Palo Alto, California.
Oh, what an age we live in. But let's concentrate for a minute or two on that word, interaction. Today we were talking to Professor Nicholas Negroponte. He's the head of the Media Lab at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. He actually thinks the computer builders need to do a better job than they are doing. Professor Negroponte, all this promise about the future in that report from Jack Smith, when is the future?
The future is much sooner than most people think. The pressure on computer manufacturers to make computers that are easier to use is going to be enormous. People will just not tolerate for much longer the problems we've had in communicating with machines.
Is it going to get any easier?
It has to get easier, Peter. A lot of the complication in using computers is self-imposed, and by that I mean it's imposed by what I consider gratuitous, overweight, fat software that has to be simpler and easier to use, and someday so inexpensive that computers will cost less than bicycles.
Are computers really going to understand me a little better? Are they really going to understand my emotions?
They not only are going to understand your emotions, they have to understand your emotions. Just think of computers in the role of helping children learn. Think back to your favorite teacher as a child. That teacher wasn't so much an expert in math or geography. That teacher was an expert in you. That teacher understood you emotionally, responded to you, said the right things at the right time, because that teacher was enormously good at understanding you as an emotional being. And if computers can't do that, they're going to be useless in teaching, and frankly, they're not going to be very useful in the long term.
Nicholas Negroponte, thank you. When we come back, having a cow. It's getting easier.
Honey, I'm going to Staples to pick up a few gifts. Be back soon.
Attention shoppers, looking for the perfect gift? Well, check out aisle 3 for great prices on Sharp mobile organizers. And save on Panasonic phones. No, not you! or any husband would love one of those nice global chairs.
I need the leather one. Get a leather chair. For great gift ideas and over 7,000 items at guaranteed low prices at Staples. Yeah, we've got that.
I'm 64. Is there anything I can do to stop bone loss?
Absolutely. Here's proof. In a landmark clinical study, Caltrate actually stopped bone loss in women at risk for osteoporosis, whatever your age.
It's never too late for Caltrate.
Life's an adventure because you're over 50 and still exploring. So take the Centrum made just for you, Centrum Silver, with age-essential nutrients specially adjusted to keep pace with your changing nutritional needs. Centrum Silver, it's a great time to be silver.
Please release me, let me. DirecTV offers more than 185 channels. Digital sound, digital picture, more sports, more movies, more of everything than you could ever get from cable. So, what are you looking at? If it's not DirecTV, see your retailer for a demo today.
On 2020 tonight, for the right price and in just days, a college degree.
It's a major scam, but very clever, very shrewd, and very well done.
2020 uncovers scam schools and where some surprising graduates might be. 2020 tonight.
Finding from us this evening, now that we have seen where some of the leading computer mavens think we are going with that technology, how about where man is going? There are certainly scientists who believe that how the cow goes now, man is sure to emulate. ABC's Ned Potter tonight on the latest cloning.
The problem to some biologists was that regardless of whether cloning was wrong or not, it was inefficient. To create Dolly the sheep, they tried and failed 277 times. But the Japanese team working with cattle had a much higher average. They made 10 embryos from the cells of an adult cow and produced 8 identical calves.
Technology is moving much quicker than any of us could have ever imagined.
Since the explosion of interest that came with Dolly, cloning experiments have become all but routine. Mice cloned in Hawaii, bulls in Wisconsin. Researchers say the process is getting very reliable.
So all of a sudden, efficiency is no longer a reason not to clone people.
Clone people? Soon? Well, despite the outcry against it, a few doctors in different countries say they plan to try. And biologists now say it would not take a breakthrough for someone to pull it off. Ned Potter, ABC News, New York.
Well, that is our report on World News Tonight. All of me will be back tomorrow. Don't forget 2020 later. And on Nightline, the President's Defense. I'm Peter Jennings. Hope you have a good evening. Good night.
Tomorrow, playing tricks with your mind. What advertisers are doing to get you to buy. Watch ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABC News, now always on.
The following promo is completely unscripted. Do not try this at home.
The summer's biggest hit is back with all new episodes. Whose Line Is It Anyway returns tonight, 9:30, 8:30 Central on ABC.
A whole new era in college football begins. The Bowl Championship Series. Coming January 1st, only on ABC.
Now, News 2 at 6. First, fast, accurate.
These are criminals and they're thugs. Whatever it takes to help apprehend bank robbers, we'll do it.
Area banks add extra security after a recent rash of robberies. Good evening, everyone. A recent string of bank robberies put security officials on guard.
The latest bank targeted by robbers was the SunTrust branch in Brentwood just yesterday. This